sellout at the Greensboro Coliseum for today's game between top-ranked North Carolina and 12th-rated Wake Forest. Dean Smith Tar Heels are unbeaten and led by his two All-Americans, Sam Perkins and Michael Jordan. Perkins, the Tar Heels' most consistent player, leads Carolina in scoring and rebounding. Jordan, an outstanding athlete, is one of the game's most exciting players. He is deadly in clutch situations. Carl Tacey's Demon Deacons are 11-1, and their success is keyed by 6'6" sophomore Kenny Green, one of the ACC's biggest surprises. He leads the conference in field goal accuracy. A Big Four meeting on Tobacco Road. The Tar Heels against the Demon Deacons. At the forwards, Matt Doherty, vastly underrated. marks Cline his second consecutive start as a freshman. Sam Perkins, 26 points against Maryland, and Kenny Green, a budding star in the ACC. Brad Doherty's matured, and Anthony Tichy, the leading rebounder in the ACC. Kenny Smith leads them in assists and steals, and Delaney Rudd was out the last game with a knee, but seems to be all right. Michael Jordan, just a great athlete, and Danny Young, their floor leader. The officials from the ACC, Joe Forte from Atlanta, Georgia, John Moreau from Richmond, Virginia, and Jim Birch from Cary, North Carolina. We will have the 45-second clock off the last 4 minutes. Sam Perkins, you can see he has a cast on that.
Joe Forte steps in between Perkins. We're about ready, and now it's go as the ball is tossed in the air. Tap control by Wake Forest. Away to Kenny Green. He'll get it away right away to Danny Young. Carolina has opened at a man-to-man defense, and Michael Jordan has drawn the defensive assignment on Young. Gets it to Rudd. Kenny Smith on him. Goes low to Green. Doherty backing him. Here's Delaney Rudd to Cline, to Tichy. Now to Green. Turnaround. No good. And Carolina comes away with a rebound. Kenny Smith in the middle will hit Doherty coming in on the left. All the way on the drive. Reverse layup is good. Matt Doherty on the break. You'll remember it was Doherty's 2 free throws that bailed Carolina out a year ago here in Greensboro. 2-0 in the first 35 seconds from the gate city of the Piedmont. Danny Young across the timeline, working to the right. Carolina again man-to-man to Rudd. Smith fights through on him. Jumper, right corner is no good. Perkins taps it out. Controlled by Green for Wake Forest. To Rudd, he drops it to Danny Young. Young calling out the Deacons' number 3 offense. Gets it away to Rudd. Rudd moving toward the right baseline. Bounces low to Green. Up off the glass. Shot an air ball. Cline comes out with a rebound. The freshman loops it up the sideline to Young. Young goes right back to Cline. Jumper left corner, and we've got a tie score. 2-time Parade All-America, the West Virginia Player of the Year for his final 2 years in high school. Mark Cline ties the score at 2-all. Carolina with 10 straight victories here under the big dome of the Greensboro Coliseum, coming front court. Perkins at the right wing. Wake Forest is man-to-man. Goes to Smith deep in the right corner. Carolina trying to set its offense against the Deacon man-to-man. Matt Doherty top of the circle against Cline. Kenny Smith, long outside shot. Off the front of the rim, no good. Tichy, the ACC's leading rebounder, plucks down his first of the game. Score tied 2-all. Wake Forest can lead for the first time. The students filling up the east stands here in the Greensboro Coliseum. At least the lower part, right in behind the team benches, are on their feet and will be for most of the game. Trying to be a 6th man for Coach Carl Tacey's Deacons. Delaney Rudd controls at the left wing in front of a standing Dean Smith. Anthony Tichy had a notion, didn't pull the trigger from 17. Goes to Young deep in the right corner, bounces low to Green, and Brad Doherty reaching around him draws the foul. It'll be number 1 on Doherty, the Tar Heels' first team foul.
One of the big things that Carolina's got to do is keep Kenny Green away from that basket, Woody. He is shooting 65%. He should be leading the ACC and field goal percentage, and he's averaging almost 18 points a game. So you're going to see Carolina trying to keep him away from the basket.
Cline again out of the left corner. He likes that spot. He sends Wake Forest to its first lead at 4-2. 17:50 left to play in the first half. Smith across the timeline, whips it to Brad Doherty, standing uncontested on the left. To Perkins, now to Smith. Smith looked inside, goes to Jordan, gets it away now to Matt Doherty, comes low to Perkins, back to Matt Doherty, 15 feet, no good. Rebound pulled down by Kenny Green for Wake Forest. 4-2 in favor of the Deacons. Danny Young across the timeline, works now to the right of the circle. You heard Dean Smith say in his pregame comments, Matt Doherty's got to take that shot if he's open. He did. It was a little strong, came off the back of the iron. Young, away now to Tichy. Tichy runs into Kenny Smith. Tried to get it to Delaney Rudd, stolen by Smith. Lead comes to Perkins, coming in on the left side. Sam for the dunk. Score tied for a second time at 4-all on the Perkins dunk. 17:10 left to play in the first half. Delighted to have you with us this afternoon, and thank goodness the weather's improved considerably across the Old North State today. Old Saul has reappeared. Delaney Rudd at the right wing. Back out front it comes to Danny Young in the midcourt area for Wake Forest. The Deacons in white going to the south goal here in the first half. Rudd bounces low to Green. Green turns baseline, hooks, no good. Right into the hands of the standing Sam Perkins, who was underneath the bucket. Kenny Smith down the right sideline. Carl Tacey standing. He's talking to John Moreau. I think he thought there was a foul on the play since Green's hook shot did not strike iron. Michael Young, low, in the lane. Knocked on the hand by Anthony Tichy and foul. No, it's going to be Mark Cline, not Tichy. The freshman from out of South Williamston, Kentucky, Mark Cline, draws his first personal foul. It'll be the first team foul, and Henry Wilmington's Michael Jordan will shoot a pair.
Pretty obvious that Wake Forest is going to try to move that ball down low on Carolina and take advantage of Kenny Green. And Brad Daugherty's got a big job on Green right now, Woody. Green has taken 3 shots. He's only drawn iron once. And so Carolina has obviously made that a point of emphasis today.
Michael Jordan's free throw used every bit of the orange paint on the rim before it fell through for his first point of the ball game. It's 5-4 in favor of Carolina. Jordan can break our second tie. Well, he's already done that, but he missed the free throw, so it's still a 5-4 Carolina lead. 16:28 left to play in the half. Wake Forest very quickly front court. Cline will go to his favorite spot, left corner, only this time Brad Daugherty's on him. We got a whistle. Foul on Brad Daugherty for bumping Kenny Green, and that will be number 2 on Black Mountain. Now, the only Black Mountain, North Carolina's Brad Daugherty. The only thing now that will disrupt Carolina's defensive plans, and assistant coach Eddie Fogler was up and already seemed to be calling a defensive switch as Daugherty gets his second foul. Here's Delaney Rudd. Feeds away to Anthony Tichy. Tried to dunk, and the foul's on Perkins. Sam Perkins draws his first. He was the safety valve there, and he was the only man left to try to stop the Deacons' thrust at the goal.
Beautiful look-away pass by Delaney Rudd. He spotted Tichy breaking for the basket underneath. Hit him with a look-away pass, and basically Sam he got there just a little bit late. He had an open dunk, and all Sam could do was hammer him.
Anthony Tichy, one of the top 5 free throw shooters in the league, misses his first one. It remains a 5-4 Carolina lead. Dean Smith, flanked by Bill Guthridge and Eddie Fogler. Thought Tichy Kenny Green used some elbows a moment ago, and Brad Daugherty got that foul. Next free throw by Tichy's good. We've got our 3rd tie of the ball game. It's been tied at 2, at 4, and now at 5. Just over 16 minutes to go in the half. Rudd bumping Smith as he moves it to the left. Bounce pass away to Matt Daugherty. Daugherty holding high, goes high post to Brad Daugherty. Brad holds it high, looked to put it on the floor, did not. We get a whistle and the foul on Young, reaching in, trying to knock the ball away. Not a very smart foul, particularly when you think of the experience, Henry Hinton, that Danny Young, who played his high school ball for Preston McLean at Inlow High School in Raleigh, has got. Right now, an official timeout. Both these teams will sit down and talk about it, as Carl Tacey was also complaining to Joe Forte.
Smith and Carl Tacey want to work that ball inside. I've seen Carolina do it both times, several times down court, and we talked about Wake obviously trying to get the ball into Kenny Green, who came into this ball game shooting 65%. You got a guy like that, you want to have his hands on the ball.
Neither team has made a substitution in the ball game as yet. Both teams return to the floor following the timeout with their starters, and it'll be Kenny Smith making the inbounds pass to Daugherty from underneath the Tar Heel goal. Daugherty away to Smith, looking inside. Brad Daugherty comes high post, away to Michael Jordan. Jordan fakes Cline, jump shot, no good, and it's Tichy who knocks the ball out of bounds, and it'll belong to Carolina. Tichy, Rudd, and Daugherty were all battling for the rebound, and it was Tichy who knocked it out, according to official Jim Birch, working that baseline. Kenny Smith again to inbounds, does to Daugherty at the left wing. Matt holds high, gets it to Brad Daugherty at the high post. He'll take the jump shot from there. It's no good. Michael Jordan trying to follow up. He scores, but he travels, says Jim Birch. So the score remains tied at 5-all, and Wake Forest will get the ball on the turnover, disallowing the Jordan layup from the right side. 15 and a half minutes to play in the first half. Danny Young looking to Coach Carl Tacey for the call. Now calls out number 2 as he gets across the timeline against Michael Jordan. Carolina man-to-man. Young leaning in. Now comes to Kenny Green. Sam Perkins has got the job since Brad Daugherty got 2 quick fouls. Daugherty's moved over to take Anthony Tichy. Mark Cline. Cline works against Matt Daugherty. Drops it now to Danny Young in the midcourt area against Kenny Smith. Smith working now to the right side on that right-hand dribble. Picks up the dribble now, looking to the high post. Tichy comes to get it against Brad Daugherty. Daugherty playing the windmill defense on him. Tichy drives in, will use the glass, no good. tapped around. Jordan finally comes away with it for Carolina. Tries to get by Young. Young bumps him enough just to hold him up in the backcourt till the Deacon defense can get front court to set up. Now it's Matt Doherty down the left side. Goes low post to Perkins. Back to Matt Doherty. He double clutched it. Jump. No good. Doherty comes away with it. Knocked right back into his hands. He works now to the right side. Bounce passes to Brad Doherty. Matt Doherty looked inside to Brad Doherty. Turns around off the glass and scores. Brad Doherty gets his first bucket, and Carolina retakes the lead at 7-5 with 14.5 minutes to play in the opening half. Dean Smith calling on Buzz Peterson. He'll report to the scorer's table, be into the lineup on the next dead ball. Cline down the right sideline, caught up in the double team, bounces to Young. He comes baseline, feeds Green for the one-handed dunk on the left. Nice pass, Danny Young. He found the void in the Tar Heel defense at the baseline, but felt it closing fast, so he fed Kenny Green for the fourth tie of the game.
A little bit of taking a chance on the part of Sam Perkins to burn Carolina on that one, Woody. He went for the steal, and that left somebody open underneath for the dunk.
Kenny Green gives it up to Brad Doherty at the right wing. Sam Perkins breaks free, top of the circle. Takes the pass now to Kenny Smith on the left side. Comes now to Buzz Peterson. Puts it to Matt Doherty. Goes low to Perkins. Perkins works on Green. Hooked over him and scores. Sam Perkins with 4, and it's 9-7 in favor of Carolina. Danny Young, lead pass to Rudd. He had to jump to catch it down the right sideline. Perkins on him in the mismatch, and we got a blocking foul called on Perkins. Wake Forest guards, who are excellent ball handlers and good perimeter shooters, are also very effective, Henry, on leaning in. Rudd started the drive to the lane. Perkins came over defensively, and Rudd leaned in on him to draw the foul.
There was contact with him. I think you're right. Sam was moving along with him. I'm not sure that wasn't just a little incidental contact.
I don't think it did anything to impede his progress, which is sort of what Fred Bearcat wants the foul called, is when you put him at a disadvantage. The roar of the crowd greets Danny Young's shot from 20 feet, and Wake Forest ties it for a 5th time at 9-all. Kenny Smith works against Delaney Rudd in front of the Deacon bench, turns, goes to the top of the circle. Now to Buzz Peterson, who's replaced Michael Jordan. Buzz Peterson, left sideline to Brad Doherty, turned, ball knocked away. Peachy knocked it away, Young's up with it. No foul on the play. 2 turnovers now for Carolina. Here's Young at the foul line, forces it up, and it won't go. Brad Doherty and Perkins were all alone battling for it. Doherty took it away from behind. Here's Matt Doherty against Cline down the right side. We'll go to the baseline. Cline cuts him off, looking for help, bounces it low to Perkins. Perkins turns on Green, jump hook, no good. Brad Doherty taps it, no good. Knocked out of bounds by Peterson. It belongs to Wake Forest, says John Moreau. 12:51 to play in the half. It's 9-9. And Matt Doherty is out as Michael Jordan returns. Joe Wolf from Kohler, Wisconsin is in. And Brad Doherty's gone out.
Wake Forest continues to do a good job on Carolina's board, but you got to wonder how long Anthony Peachy can keep up the momentum he's got, and the stamina is going to have to go here before too long. Is playing against the big trees in Carolina. His backup, of course, Tony Karasik, got hurt against William and Mary this week, and so Anthony Peachy may have to pull their front of the load this afternoon, rebounding-wise.
John Toms has replaced Cline to Peachy to Rudd. Shot right corner, no good. Rebound by Kenny Green, up over Wolf, and it's no good. They battle inside for it, and it is Anthony Peachy who commits the personal foul on the rebound. Joe Forte came from all the way along the right sideline. Henry, you make an awfully good point about the lack of depth along the Deacon front line, and not only is Karasik's injury a problem, but the fact that Todd May, the transfer from Kentucky, has not been able to play this year, underwent surgery Thursday on his broken metatarsal, so he's not available. And Coach Carl Tacey says he simply has to play people on that front line too long. Jordan, top of the circle. Score tied 9 for a 5th time. Carolina a chance to go back on top. Peterson faking Young. Jump shot. No good. Rebound captured by Peachy. Peterson, who went 0 for 5 at Maryland, has missed his first shot this afternoon against Wake Forest. Delaney Rudd faking Smith. Drives baseline. Gets it back to Teachy. In the corner it goes to John Toms. Toms drops it now to Teachy. Back out in the midcourt area it comes to Young. Stacey said coming into the game his Deacons would have to be very patient, particularly on offense. And Wake Forest showing patience right now as Carolina has gone back to the man-to-man, having been in the 1-3-1 last time. John Toms from Danny Young. The Shelby, North Carolina senior puts Wake ahead 11-9. Kenny Smith down the right sideline. Whips it back to Joe Wolf. That goes over to Buzz Peterson. Peterson looking inside the Deacons man-to-man. Goes to Perkins. He works baseline. Draws the double team. Back to Peterson. Inside to Wolf. Turnaround. 10 feet. Good. I'll tell you one thing. There is no hesitation at all on the part of the Kohler, Wisconsin freshman. He catches that rock, and he knows what to do with it in the lane.
Carolina's shooting 5 for 11 right now. Wake Forest 5 for 13 in the ball game. But Kenny Smith has not scored a bucket yet, Woody. He's 0 for 5.
Score tied for the 6th time. Here's the jump shot taken by Kenny Green. Green's got his second, or is that his 3rd field goal? It's his 2nd field goal. Had an earlier stuff, and it's 13-11. Wake Forest back on top. Just under 11 minutes. Here's Michael Jordan turning left baseline, shooting from behind the glass and scoring. That had a little touch of class to it. The score is wrong, and that's why the fans are yelling. It should be 13-11 Carolina. Shot missed by Delaney Rudd. Popped out. Wolf came up with it. 13-13 is the score. It's now been corrected. Kenny Smith takes it all the way but travel. Evading the defensive man, he pulled the ball down and made his last move into the lane, and when he did, he had no dribble left. That's the 3rd turnover. Substitutions will be made, but before they can be, there is an official timeout taken here in Greensboro. So a timeout on the floor. And so Dave Hobson, the freshman from Ashley, Pennsylvania, will come into the lineup with Cecil Exum, the senior from Dudley, North Carolina, and Steve Hale, the sophomore from Jinx, Oklahoma. So this lineup Carolina's got on the floor now will have Hale and Peterson up front, and the back line will include Hobson, Exum, and Brad Daugherty. Wake Forest is sticking with Danny Young, Anthony Tichy, John Toms, Delaney Rudd, and Kenny Green. John Toms had been the starter at the small forward when the season began, but his shooting fell way off, and then Lee Garber took the job a while, and now freshman Mark Cline's got it. That's been the real void in the Deacon lineup since the start of the season. Just not much coming out of that number 3 spot. Danny Young, double team, whipped it down the sideline to Rudd on the right. Back it comes to the midcourt area to Green. We're tied at 13 all with 10:15 to go in the first half. Terry Holland will talk with Henry Hinton at halftime. Jump shots up, no good. Brad Daugherty and Popson battle for it, and it's Popson getting it on the right baseline. Off to Hale. Steve Hale coming front court, picked up by Delaney Rudd. Moving down in the right corner to Exum. One dribble, then Exum will come back to Hale. Now he whips it quickly left side to Peterson. Goes to Brad Daugherty. Jump shot is no good. Tichy's got the rebound. Tar Heels shooting thus far 6 of 14, 13-13. The score remains tied. Danny Young to Tichy. Carolina man-to-man. Tichy whips a pass around, pops it to Green to Danny Young. Open right baseline. No good. Brad Daugherty down with a rebound. Took it away from Toms. Gets it to Hale. Hale front court. Popson was breaking. Hale couldn't see him. Tried to feed it to him. It's stolen by Danny Young for Wake Forest. Tar Heels have committed 4 turnovers here in the first half. Wake Forest has but 1. We talked about those adept ball handlers in the Deacon backcourt. Delaney Rudd and Danny Young, and it's Young handling it right now. Comes to Kenny Green. Drives in the lane. Puts up a running one-hander that's good. Kenny Green's got 6 of the Deacon's 15 points. Wake Forest leads 15-13. Just over 9 minutes to play in the half. Steve Hale works against Rudd to Popson at the right wing. Exum breaks free, top of the circle. Now it's to Peterson over on the left side. Feeds Exum. Exum left open, left baseline. Jumper's good. Score tied for an 8th time on Cecil Exum's first field goal at 15 all. 8:50 left to go in the half. We'll also have an Ask Woody question at halftime about the new Student Activity Center at Chapel Hill. Hope you'll stick around for that. You got a question to ask me? Call our number at 919-933-9000 anytime, day or night. Tom shoots off the rim. Rebounded Tichy. From behind, pops it on the left baseline to Toms to Danny Young. High lob. Kenny Green couldn't control it. Made a great catch of the ball behind the glass. Dumps it to Tichy. Knocked away. Exum went out of bounds off Green. It'll be Carolina's ball. Cecil stuck a hand around. Knocked the ball out of Tichy's hands. It hit Green. Went on over the end line. It'll be Carolina's ball on Wake's second turnover. And Tyrone Bogues, the smallest player in the history of the Atlantic Coast Conference, has entered the lineup. He's a 5'3" freshman from Dunbar High School in Baltimore. They call him Muggsy. Actually, Anthony Tichy calls him Love for Dr. Loveless, the villain in Wild Wild West. He is all over the place. Knocked out of bounds, still be Carolina's ball. 8:05 to play in the first half. Score tied 15-15. Dean Smith wants Carolina's passing game, I think, here. On the inbound play as Hale will inbound the ball to Daugherty. Brad looks to Dave Popson, gives it to him at the high post. He drops it to Hale. Hale penetrating, knocked away Bogues, recovered Jordan. Well, Bogues so far this season has come up with 17 steals, and he almost had 18 right there. Brad Daugherty low, back to Matt Daugherty. In the lane, jump shot, 10 feet, good. Hit the front side of the rim, had enough rotation to get it up and over for 17-15 Carolina lead. Down at the other end, shot taken, missed. Crowd boos, thought there should have been a foul. Hitting the deck was Delaney Rudd. Here's Carolina. Brad Daugherty on the outlet to Matt Daugherty. Going to the left, bounces low to Jordan. Turns to the lane, falls away against Tichy and scores. Michael Jordan with 5, and it's 19-15. The Heels have opened their biggest lead of the first half. 7:20 left to play in the half. Tyrone Bogues across the timeline. High lob to Delaney Rudd. Open from 25 feet. Bottom. 19-17. Delaney Rudd, second field goal. Carolina defense not playing very hard then on the perimeter. Here's Doherty coming down on the right side to Michael Jordan. Turn around off the baseline. It went in, came out, went back in off the glass. Michael Jordan with 7, 21-17. The Rudd caught the double team. The Green, short jumper, good from 8 feet in the lane. Kenny Green's got 8. So we're watching two of the best in the ACC. Michael Jordan and Kenny Green duel individually right now for their respective clubs. Here's Jordan, left of the lane, back to Matt Doherty. Goes back to Jordan, turns off the left baseline. Wouldn't go that time. Tapped by Tichy, caught by Bogues. Bogues coming on the quick run, and boy, can he motor. Gets it away to Rudd, deep in the right corner. Low to Young, turns over Doherty, scores, and Doherty draws his third personal. Kenny Green with 10. Brad Doherty has his third, Carolina's fourth team foul. 6:25 to play in the half.
Woody, what great action. Boy, you can't get this unless you have a couple of teams that are of the caliber that Wake Forest and Carolina are. Kenny Green and Michael Jordan just putting on a show for these fans here at the Greensboro Coliseum. And Michael, when he was out down posting up low, was really begging for the ball. He really felt like he had the hot hand, and he did for a moment.
Kenny Green completes the three-point play. He's got 11. 22-21 Wake Forest. The Deacons quickly wipe out the 4-point deficit, take a 1-point lead of their own.
With a 21-22 deficit, a 1-point deficit right now. It seemed like when Carolina had their little spark ignited, Wake Forest was ignited by the fact that they had started a little bit of a surge. And Carolina now 10 of 19, 53%. The Deacons 10 of 23, 43%. And you heard Carl Tacey say in the pregame show that he thought the key to the ballgame was rebounds, and we're dead even at 10 on that category.
Green has got 9 points rather than 11. I had mistakenly given him one of Delaney Rudd's, and I held up there momentarily because the alley-oop to Jordan was missed. It came off the back of the rim. Bounce. Jordan goes to the other end and blocks Delaney Rudd and comes away with it. Amazing. He missed that dunk, and rather than be frustrated on the alley-oop, stolen by Bogues. Here's Kenny Green. Kenny Smith will try to shut Bogues off. He does. Ball lost, recovered Bogues. He went out of bounds and came back in, right underneath the big guys to recover. My goodness, what a flurry there a moment ago. Wake Forest in control, 22-21, and has the ball. Kenny Green faking up for the shot. No good. Touched by Sam Perkins, tapped to Kenny Smith.
Kenny Green
We've got an injured player. It is Kenny Green, Henry. Here's Matt Doherty. Back to Kenny Smith. Away to Perkins in the lane. Missed it. Ball tapped outside. Green's up. He takes the pass. Kenny Smith trying to shut him off. The jump shot's good. Now 11 points for Kenny Green. 24-21. Wake Forest to its biggest lead of the game. 3 points. 5:15 left to play in the first half. Wake Forest in the 2-3 zone. Matt Doherty on the right side. Down to Kenny Smith. Back it comes to Doherty. Over to Michael Jordan. Jordan on the left. To Doherty. Top of the circle. Comes to the foul line. Kenny Smith now gives it to Sam Perkins. Matt Doherty. Michael Jordan. Jump shot from there. No good. Rebound by Tichy. Under 5 minutes to play in the half. He drops it off to Bogues. Bogues, if anything, has changed the complexion of this game. He's caused the tempo to increase. Bogues calling out the offense now. Will send it away to Rudd at the hash mark on the right. Carolina man-to-man. The Cline deep in the right corner. Now it comes back to Rudd.
Kenny Smith was holding his eye. I think he got poked in the eye on that last exchange down court.
Here's Rudd off the glass. Good. 26-21. Wake Forest by 5. 4:25 to play. Kenny Smith, front court for the Tar Heels. In their road blue, they're working to the north goal in the first half. Matt Doherty on the wing, knocked away. Rudd into the scorer's table, out of bounds. It'll still be Carolina's ball. The Deacon fans are ecstatic. You would imagine the 12th-ranked Wake Forest Deacons have the #1 Tar Heels down 5. But Carolina, as yet, not showing any loss of composure. Still very calm, very relaxed. Because they know there's a lot of time, Henry.
I believe I said that Kenny Smith was hit in the eye. I meant to say Kenny Green was hit in the eye. And that little injury actually gave Wake Forest a basket because Green was laying on the ground back under the Wake Forest basket when the break started down on the other end of the court, and they got it down to him for a quick basket All he had to do was get up off the floor and make the bucket.
Carolina, with a stretch earlier of 6 of 7, now has missed its last 4 shots. Matt Doherty on the right side, looking high post to Jordan, couldn't get it to him. Now Perkins moves out right of the lane. Cross court, it goes to Jordan. Jordan into the lane, feeds Matt Doherty. Jumper, right baseline, no good. And it's lost out of bounds by Tichy. It'll still be Carolina's ball. Doherty is having problems with his shooting here today. Matt is now 2 of 5 in the ball game. And we've got an official timeout taken before the inbounds play. So with 3:50 left to play in the first half, timeout on the floor with the score, Wake Forest 26. And let's see, there's a 5th Wake Forest player in there. Kenny Green. Here's the short jumper in the lane by Joe Wolf on the inbounds. Wolf has his second field goal, and it's 26-23. Bogues picked up by Peterson in the backcourt. High lob over to Danny Young. Young down the right sideline, gave it to Cline, goes to Tichy deep in the corner. Sam Perkins on him. Joe Wolf has got the defensive assignment now on Kenny Green. Brad Doherty riding the bench now with 3 personal fouls. Got his third, just over 3 minutes ago. Anthony Tichy bounces low to Green. Got free, puts it up off the glass. Perkins was in front of him, Jordan behind him, but Kenny Green gets his 13th point of the game. 28-23, Wake Forest by 5. Kenny Smith against Bogues, breaks his dribble, goes to Buzz Peterson. Peterson comes right back to Smith with it. Now it goes to Joe Wolf. Now to Michael Jordan deep in the right corner. Jordan will come up the sideline against Mark Cline to the hash mark to Kenny Smith. Boy, Bogues' neck must be awfully sore when the game's over. He looks up to everybody he plays. Ball knocked loose, went out of bounds, off Buzz Peterson, says Jim Birch. It'll be Carolina's ball. 5th turnover. Dean Smith wondering why there wasn't a foul called on the play when it got knocked loose by the Deacon double team.
Wake Forest is playing terrific defense on Carolina, and at the other end of the court, Wake Forest has gotten a little hot. Kenny Green went 1 of 5 to start the ball game, and now Woody, he's hit 5 of the last 6 shots he's taken.
Bounce pass from Bogues away to Young along the right sideline. Smith up in his face. Now comes to Green. Wolf on him. Intercepted Peterson. Peterson coming front court. Danny Young reached in and fouled him. Kept Peterson from adequately running the break, so the foul on Young will be his second, and that will only be the 4th team foul against Wake Forest, so Carolina will get the ball out of bounds the backcourt. You know, Henry, last Saturday when Wake Forest was upset at Georgia Tech, that was the first time since his sophomore year in high school that Tyrone Bogues had been on a losing team. 28-23.
He played terrific last year in high school. He's 31-0, Woody.
59-0 over 2 years at Dunbar and Baltimore, and he was the MVP on a team that included Reggie Williams. Perkins turns, shoots, shot partially deflected, now caught by Young as it got knocked long, coming off the front of the rim. 28-23, Wake Forest. Danny Young cut off at the baseline, back up the sideline, it goes to Bogues. Bogues taking it out into the midcourt area to set it up. He wants the 1 Deacon offense now. Bounce pass away to Young. Young, faking Jordan, will put up the jump shot off the glass. It rimmed out, would go. Perkins couldn't hold it. It went out of bounds. It'll still belong to Wake Forest. 28-23 in favor of Wake Forest. Less than 2 minutes to go in the half. Bogues and Cline are out. Delaney Rudd and John Toms return. Now, I'll bet you, Henry, that the momentum of this game, the tempo at least, suddenly slows a little bit. Now, it won't come down a complete stall, but I was amazed at what Bogues did to the tempo of the game when he came in. Rudd to Tichy. Carolina packed back into the zone now. Danny Young will control it in the midcourt area. Carolina going to its 1-3-1 point zone now. Young looking inside, gives it to Rudd. Now the cross-court pass to Toms. Now it comes back to Rudd and Young. Now in the left corner to Tichy. Back to Young. Here's Rudd from 20 feet. Good! 30-23. The Deacons have their biggest lead at 7 points. 6 points for Hollister, North Carolina's Delaney Rudd. Matt Doherty from Smith, back to Smith, now back to Doherty, to Smith on the right. High post to Popson. Popson puts it to the floor, 1 dribble, takes the jump shot, good! Popson from 15 feet. Well, the 2 big freshman frontline players have come off the bench and contributed 6 points now for Carolina. 30-25 with 1 minute. Carl Tacey standing, might want his team to go for 1 unless something's there. Green turns around off the glass, no good. Tichy comes down with a rebound, blocked behind by Doherty, and he draws the foul. It'll be number 1 on Matt Doherty. That will be the 5th team foul against Carolina. And 3 of those 5 team fouls have come against Brad Doherty, who's been on the bench now since the 6:25 mark. Bogues is coming back to replace Young.
Woody, once again, you'll probably see the tempo of the game pick up just a little bit. But I think the key so far is the defense that Wake Forest is playing with Carolina. I don't think that Carolina's seen this kind of defense, this intense and tenacious type defense that Wake is playing today. As Peachy dropped through his first free throw that they're seeing here today. Wake came into this ballgame holding 166 to 203 edge in turnovers over its opponents and 62 to 21 in blocked shots.
31 to 25, make it 32-25 as Peachy makes both of his free throws. He missed his first one, but the fifth leading free throw shooter in the ACC's canned his last three. 32-25, 45 seconds left to play in the half. Smith dropped the ball but recovered with Bogues on him. Here's Matt Doherty, cross to Kenny Smith. Smith against Bogues, breaks his dribble, goes to Matt Doherty. Doherty open from 10 feet, jumper good. Matt Doherty with 6 points. 32-27 with 30 seconds to play. The Deacons will probably want to wait on one, and already the Wake Forest student body is telling the team, wait for one shot. Here's Bogues in the midcourt area against Kenny Smith. On the drive, can't get through, will have to come back out and set it up. He's a muscular 135-pounder. Here's his drive to Thompson. He walked with it, and it wasn't called. Delaney Rudd in the midcourt area. Now comes to Bogues with 5, 4. Jordan reached around. Bogues on the drive. Scoops it away to Green. He double dribbled it. Has the clock run out? No horn as yet. 0-0 is showing on the clock. The half may be over.
Woody, there was 2 seconds remaining on the clock, and I don't think the clock keeper heard the whistle. There's a lot of noise down there on the floor, and I think they're going to put a couple of seconds back on the clock. But now Carl Tacey is coming down to argue that that should not be the case, and he's talking with Joe Forte right now.
Well, Henry, there are scoreboard clocks on the front end of the balcony at each end of the Coliseum, and Joe Forte pointed to the scoreboard clock on the front end of the balcony and that he could see it, that there was time left. The whistle blew with 2 seconds left on the clock. Now, where they'll put 2 back on, I don't know. Forte seemed to be indicating 1 with an index finger up. So now, let's see. We got to go back. This will take a minute because what they'll have to do is they may have to get it to a minute and then let it run down. Because they cannot back it up. Now, see, they cut the clock back on before they had tried to reset it. They were going to let it run down, and the horn went off. So now they've got to reset. So we've got to fill, as they say in our business right now, because the clock is at 50 seconds, and they've got to run it down to either 2 or 1. Now, the score is 32-27. Carolina, of course, would like to get the basket to go to the dressing room down by only 3, having trailed here in the first half by as many as 7 after having led by 4. But it was that 4-point lead, Henry, at about the 7-minute mark of the first half at 21-17 when things suddenly turned around. Carolina started to miss, and the Deacons started to hit.
Well, I think Tyrone Bogues was the key. He came in. I tell you have to watch this guy play. He's 5'3", a freshman guard out of the Baltimore area, and he has not hit any shots, I don't think, Woody, has he? But
no, that's his one weakness. They say he is a mediocre shooter, but he's 135 pounds. And I'll tell you what, he looks about as solid as a fire hydrant. He bench presses 165 pounds.
And he's not much taller than one either.
Well, you know, he comes from a small family. His dad is 5'6", his mom's 5'1", so, you know, they weren't growing trees in that family. But the great thing about that young man is he proves that if you've got enough desire, a guy of any size can play the game. 1 second left. Wolf's going to inbound the ball. He threw it over Kenny Smith's head. Wake Forest gets the ball right in front of the Carolina bench. So the Deacons may turn this in to a 7-point lead at 34-27. They've got that opportunity with 1 second remaining.
Now, Woody, the clock shows 0 again, but the clock cannot start till somebody touches the ball in bounds.
Right. And so there's 1 second left on the clock. Joe Forte, I think they're going to have to reset the thing again.
You know, with all of the wonderful things we enjoy, modern technology in our world today, it seems like somebody could invent a clock that they could immediately set back on the seconds, Woody. I think that if I could invent that, maybe I could make a lot of money.
Well, just to show you how some people keep their heads even in the hectic situations that exist sometime in games, Dean Smith has put Timo Makinen into the lineup, who at 6'11" will go in simply for defensive purposes to get underneath to try to prevent a high lob out-of-bounds alley-oop pass to the goal. So we're at 22, and the clock is running down again. They'll stop it at 1 second. And you know, Henry, as we always get into when teams are trying last-second shots in which the outcomes of games ride on it, we always talk about, you know, there can be more than 1 full second left on that clock because, you know, it goes as the cell or whatever they talk about that trigger those sorts of things. There's actually probably a little more than a second left to play.
Well, I think Wake Forest will try to throw a Hail Mary at the basket, Woody, and you know, the worst they want to come out of it with is a foul if they can't get a bucket. So let's see what happens.
Here's Toms to inbound the ball from in front of the Tar Heel bench against Popson, who's leaping in the air in front of him. Got it to Rudd. The ball was fumbled. Now for sure. This is the 3rd time, but I'll guarantee you the half is over. But it's been a half highlighted by Wake Forest 5-point lead.
He's worked so hard.
Coliseum 32-27.
An excellent job right at the start of the ball game and continue to do that throughout the first half.
Now, if you look at these teams, it's hard sometimes to find out what their strategy is, but we're going to go to our CBS shot chart. Billy, we have an interesting thing we're going to show. On the right-hand side, you have mapped the play of Kenny Green, the sophomore from Wake Forest.
That's right. The dark dots right here are shots that Kenny made. You can see Wake Forest was very effective being able to go inside to Green, right in the area he likes to handle the ball. He was only 7 for 13, which is still better than 50% in the first half, but 6 out of the last 8 he was able to make, and that really got Wake on track. Down at the other end of the court, so often you look at Carolina and you say Jordan and Perkins are responsible for a little over 44% of the total offense. Here in the first half, Wake Forest has done a little better job. They've held those 2 fellas down to just 5 field goals made. And in that particular case, you'd have to say Wake Forest getting better of it in regard to the pregame strategy on behalf of the 2 coaches.
But you can see also, Billy, they are getting that ball inside, the good percentage shots. As an end result, North Carolina shooting 48%, Wake Forest a little over 44. We've had 9 ties, 4 lead changes. Wake Forest took the lead at the 6:25 mark of the first half when Green made that 3-point play, and they have not relinquished it up to this point.
One of the things you'll see in the second half is Dean Smith will probably go with this starting lineup for a much
Underway in Greensboro, and Carolina quickly gets the first goal of the second half from Matt Doherty, his 8th point of the game, and the Heels have cut the Deacon lead to 3. 32-29, Wake Forest now on offense, going to the north goal here in the second half. Here's the feed to Kenny Green from off the baseline, no good. Had it, lost it, ball loose, picked up by Doherty. Everybody stood around a moment, I think, thinking there might be a foul call. Here's Doherty deep in the left corner, goes low to Perkins. Perkins against Green, and it's 32-31. And the Tar Heels have come out of the dressing room smoking here in the first 45 seconds of play. Wake Forest led by as many as 7 in the first half. Carolina was up by as many as 4 at one time before the Deacons got hot. Danny Young down the right sideline in front of the Deacon bench. Goes to Kenny Green, now back to Young. Young to the foul line, to Cline. Jumper is no good. Rebound by Perkins. Nice inside position on Green. Kenny Green with a chance to give Carolina the lead. Brad Doherty fumbled it, had it knocked away out of his hand by Danny Young. It'll still be Carolina's ball. 18:50 left to play in the ball game, 32-31. The Heels trying to go 12-0. Wake Forest, number 12, trying to pull off an upset of number 1 and go 12-1. Kenny Smith, alley-oop to Jordan, thrown too far behind him. Michael could not hold on to the ball, and it's captured by Kenny Green to Danny Young. Now to Delaney Rudd. Back to Green for the layup. No good. Doherty with a rebound. Jordan was with him. Credit Michael Jordan's defense with keeping Green from scoring. Matt Doherty, 10 feet. Good, and Carolina leads 33-32. Carl Casey will need a timeout, I think, Henry Hinton, before he gets one for television.
I don't know what they did at halftime, but they must have given them something, Woody. They cut them out of the shoot early here. Carolina has scored 6 points, Wake Forest none in the second half.
Well, it's like the Maryland players said Thursday night. You know second half, Carolina's going to come back and be aggressive. Kiki with a nice roll to the lane, and he gets his first field goal of the day, 5th point of the ball game. 34-33, Wake Forest moves back on top. Sam Perkins from 17, fakes Green, puts it to the floor to Kenny Smith. Shot from the left, good. Kenny Smith's first basket of the ball game. In the first half, the freshman from out of the Queens, New York, went 0 for 1. 35-34, Carolina, 17:40 left to play. Here's Danny Young, high post to Cline. Perkins backs up. Cline drives, feeds Green, mishandle it, puts it up, and he travels, and that turns it over. Cline fumbled the ball at the start of that play as Sam Perkins was backing off of him defensively to drop back. Sam knew that Kenny Green was back there, and he was backing to help out, and then when the pass got tapped to Green, he couldn't handle it. Kenny Smith on the drive, wouldn't go down, blocked away by Anthony Tichy. 35-34, the ball never actually got up above the rim, and it's the Deacons trying to retake the lead. Danny Young against Buzz Peterson, who's in the lineup now for Jordan. Away it goes to Cline at the left wing. Cline looked to Kenny Green, couldn't get him the ball. Bounces low to Rudd. Rudd against Peterson, puts up the shot, no good. And Jimper whistles a foul on Buzz Peterson. The Asheville junior has his first, and that'll be the first team foul of the second half against the Tar Heels.
Well, I'm sure he's not upset about this play, but a moment ago, one of the Wake Forest fans sitting right behind press row on the opposite side of the court from the coaches winning held up a big eye chart for Joe Forte. When Forte was running down the court, Joe took a quick look at it. I'm not sure if he could read it from where he was or not, but I don't know. That man might be an ophthalmologist or an optometrist or something, but he brought along his eye chart for the officials today.
35-34, Danny Young goes to the line for the first time today. Danny's shooting less than 70% at the line here in the early going, and he's short on that one. I say early going, I'm talking about the early going of the season, although we are nearing the midway point. He'll have another shot coming, 35-34. This game was tied 7 times in the first half. It could be tied an 8th if Young knocks this one in, and he does. 35-35 on Danny Young's third point of the game. Kenny Smith against Delaney Rudd, working to the left side, right in front of the Tar Heel bench, breaks his dribble, goes to Brad Daugherty with Tichy on him. Tichy looks to Perkins. Green was fronting him. Perkins breaks high. Peterson now gives it to Perkins left of the circle. Fakes Green, goes low to Brad Daugherty. Jump hook, good. 37-35, Brad Daugherty with his 4th point. 16:45 to play. Long lead pass to Cline. He ran it down the left corner. Never really mishandled it. He just didn't catch it very well. Shot is no good. Rudd with a rebound. Muscles in. Fires off the glass. Good. He had to put it up over both Jordan and Daugherty, but somehow he got it up there and got it back down through the net. 37-37. Score tied. Ball lost. Bodies on the floor. Kenny Smith to Michael Jordan. Reverse layup is no good. We got a whistle, and a 2-shot foul has been called against Wake Forest. Joe Forte making the call on Danny Young, and it will be number 3 on the Raleigh senior. First team foul of the second half against Wake Forest. With this score tied, a 9th time at 37 all, Jordan goes to the free throw line with just over 16 minutes to play. First one up by the Wilmington, North Carolina native, and it's good. I say Wilmington, North Carolina native. You know, Henry, I went down to the day in Wilmington for his honor after Carolina won the national championship. John Tom's back in the lineup for Wake Forest. And one of his aunts or his grandmother or something got up down there and told me, he said, tell everybody on the radio that Michael is from Tichy, North Carolina. He's not from Wilmington, because that's where he was born.
That down near Burgaw?
I think so. That's right. Michael makes both of them, and it's 39-37. Double team in the backcourt. Young gets it front court to John Toms. Across the timeline now comes Danny Young for the Deacons with 16 minutes left to play in the ball game. Young looking inside the Carolina man-to-man. Here's Delaney Rudd from Young, spinning into the lane. Wanted to put up the shot from 10 feet, could not against Smith and Daugherty. Now Young resets the offense in the midcourt area. 39-37, Carolina. Here's Tichy coming to the high post. Now to Toms. He'll come, take the jumper over Matt Daugherty. It's no good. Rebound pulled out by Perkins. Got it away to Matt Daugherty. Jordan going down on the right. Daugherty can't get it to him. He'll drive right of the lane, feeds him off the baseline. Count it. 41-37. Carolina goes back on top by 4 with Michael Jordan's 11th point of the ball game. That's his first field goal of the second half. And right now, the teams will get a chance to catch their breath. An official timeout's been taken. But Carolina has battled back from a 7-point first-half deficit here in the first 4.
Carolina has outscored Wake Forest 14-5 in the second half. The Tar Heels have hit 6 of 7 shots, 86%. They're red hot out of the dressing room at half. Wake Forest 2 for 7. just 29%. Carolina leads in the rebound department 4-2 here early in the second half.
Carolina's matched its biggest lead of the game at 4 as Wake Forest controls in the Deacon backcourt. Young against Jordan pushing off. The Deacon bench thought there should have been a foul on Jordan. No reaction from the Carolina bench as Rudd fires from the right wing, and it's 41-39. Delaney Rudd has his 10th point of the ball game. 15-plus minutes left to go. Perkins, top of the circle from Smith. Dribbles into the top of the foul circle, bounces low to Brad Daugherty, turned on Tichy, turns around off that baseline, it won't go down. Tap follow, no good. Jordan will run it down on the right baseline. Almost into the corner, comes to Matt Daugherty, now to Kenny Smith, top of the circle. Kenny will move near the center jump circle to reset the Tar Heel offense. Now he hits Brad Daugherty at the right wing. Brad holding high, comes to Perkins, top of the circle. Backdoor, Kenny Smith, layup good. 43-39, Kenny Smith gets his second field goal of the game. Wake Forest defense just sort of lulled to sleep a little bit there. The people along the front line moved out. Here's Delaney Rudd from Young. Jump shot. No good. Perkins with a rebound on the right. First half, Sam Perkins was credited with only one rebound. Stolen by Young for Wake Forest. Deacons coming the other way. Young on the drive. Good. Daugherty was there, didn't foul him. Perkins didn't want to take the foul, and Young gets the layup for his 5th point of the game. 43-41. The Tar Heel lead cut back to 2. Smith down on the left wing to Daugherty, right in front of the Tar Heel bench. Brad holding high, look to Matt, will drop it deep in that left corner to Smith. Now it comes to Perkins, just left of the circle. Perkins looking inside, puts it to the floor once. Jordan can't get away from Tom. Sam will fire, knocks the bottom out of it. 45-41. Well, when all your options aren't there, just knock that rock in. 8 points for Perkins, 45-41, 13-40. Left to play. Delaney Rudd against Kenny Smith, coming off the hash on the right side. Bounce low to Green. Green off the baseline. Good! That ball hit the back of the rim, laid up on the rim support, and then finally dropped through for his 17th point of the game. Jordan. Blocked. Knocked away by Anthony Tichy, and that ignites the Deacons and even gets Carl Pacey pumping the air in front of the Deacon bench. 45-43. Wake Forest with a chance to tie this game for the 11th time. Kenny Green off the right baseline. Doesn't do it. Tap follow no good by John Toms, and Matt Daugherty comes away with it. Daugherty will wait for traffic to clear. Gives it up to Kenny Smith. To Jordan in the right corner. Coming out of the corner. Beats Perkins. Perkins will drive on the left. Over to the top of Kenny Green. Won't go. Perkins with a rebound. Muscles it back up. It goes, and he's fouled. Basket is good, says John Moreau. The foul is on Kenny Green. It's his first, and it's the second team foul against Wake Forest. Henry, that was just, again, great physical effort on the part of Perkins. He drove, couldn't get the first shot to go down as he fired it over Kenny Green, and he went right back and got it.
But it was great determination, too, Woody. He had to move and jerk around underneath the basket in order to get away from Green enough to put the ball back up. But great effort, great strength, and more than that, just the need to really put the ball back in the hole for Sam Perkins.
3-point play for Perkins gives him 11. I'm sure all the Deacon fans thought he took a step with it, getting position down low. 48-43. Tyrone Bogues has come back in the ball game. You'll remember what an effect he had on the first half, changing the tempo. Now Eddie Fogler's shrill whistle off the Carolina bench gets the attention of the defense, so Dean Smith can make a change. Bogues double team Smith, and Hale coming on the double team. He whips it away to John Toms. Now Toms away to Kenny Green off the glass. Good. Kenny Green faking Matt Daugherty, going right back up for his 19th point. 48-45. Carolina by 3 with 12 and a half minutes to play. Kenny Smith gives it to Perkins, top of the circle. Now over to Kenny Smith. Smith working against the shorter Tyrone Bogues. Knocked away. Kenny controls it. Got it to Matt Daugherty. Goes low to Joe Wolf. Wolf dishes back out to Steve Hale. To Kenny Smith from off the left sideline. Good. Smith knocks the bottom out of it. He's got 6 all in the second half. 50-45. Across the timeline comes Bogues. He's yelling out the offense against the Carolina zone. Tar Heels back in the 1-3-1 point. To Toms on the left. To Bogues. Back it goes to Toms on the left. Beats Tichy at the baseline. To Toms. To Bogues. Now right wing, they give it to Young. Young back to Bogues. Jump shot from 20 feet. Got it. Did I say Bogues couldn't shoot in the first half? From 20 feet, nothing but the bottom. 50-47 Carolina. 11:35 to play in the ball game. Kenny Smith against Bogues, working to the left. Gives it up to Steve Hale. Hale on Danny Young. We get a whistle, and the foul's on Kenny Green. Off the ball against Perkins. Jim Birch comes to the scores table, says he was holding Perkins, and it'll be number 2 on Green. Third team foul against Wake Forest. Timeout on the floor. 11:32 showing on the big clock. under the big dome in the Gate City with a score. Jordan looked to Perkins on the high lob, couldn't make it to Doherty. Comes up the sideline now to Smith. Wake's gone back in the zone. High lob to Perkins. He's double-teamed, Young and Bogues, and Young reaches in and draws his 4th personal foul. Danny Young picks up his 4th personal foul. He has 2 of the Deacons' 4 team fouls here in the second half with 11:23, and the Raleigh, North Carolina senior who played for Preston McLean at Inlow High School will have to go to the bench for the better part of this game. Here's Jordan to Kenny Smith, deep in the right corner. High lob to Doherty, back to Kenny, jump shot, right corner, good. Kenny Smith has knocked in 4 field goals in the second half out of 6 attempts. He took only 1 attempt in the first half, or out of 5 attempts, rather. He has 6 attempts for the game. 52-47, Carolina once again matching its biggest lead of the game at 5. Tom's on the left side for Wake Forest. Back to Bogues at the top of the circle. The little guy gives it up to Rudd on the right. He takes Steve Hale into the corner. Perkins moving out on the double team. Bogues had a notion, whips it back to Rudd. Rudd will come to the baseline, takes the jumper from there, and it's good. Delaney Rudd with 12, and it's 52-49. Once again, Wake Forest whittles the Carolina lead down to 3. Hale gives it up to Kenny Smith over on the right side with 10:35 to go. Kenny Smith looking inside as both Perkins and Doherty drop to the low post. Now Brad Doherty comes high. Perkins comes high. Doherty on the left side. Perkins on the right. The pass goes to Hale. Now it's to Smith. High post to Brad Doherty. Turns around. Fakes. Goes up for the soft jumper and scores. Deacon fans thought he walked with it, but Brad Doherty gets his 6th point of the game. 54-49. Bogues across the timeline for Wake Forest. The Deacons in white going to the north goal. Bogues stealing a look at Carl Tacey on the Deacon bench. Green from 14 feet off the front of the rim, tapped outside by Toms, controlled by Green, and he hands it right back off to Bogues. Now it goes to Toms. Toms comes a couple of steps, takes Perkins and Jordan, gets it back to Bogues. Bogues, high lob, intercepted Perkins. Tried to go alley-oop to Green. Perkins was not going to be taken out of it. He brings it to Hale, gives it to him, special delivery right in front of the scorer's table. Hands it off now to Smith. Smith lob back to Hale along the left wing. In the side, it goes to Brad Doherty. Off to Kenny Smith. Jump shot from there. Too strong. Brad Doherty there lost it. Perkins recovers. Tried to bounce it off the Deacons. Bogues intercepts. Bogues coming on the run against Kenny Smith. Here's Delaney Rudd against Hale. Spins away, leans in, puts up the shot off the glass. No good. They tap it around. Lost by Toms. He tried to save it. Threw it out of bounds. It'll be Carolina's ball near midcourt.
A lot of action, Woody. I tell you, we were down court just a minute ago, and Tyrone Bogues was standing next to Sam Perkins, and that ball was almost out of bounds, and Sam kicked it back in, and the Wake Forest got their break going. It looked like a basketball version of Jack and the Beanstalk, with Bogues standing there at 5'3" against Sam at 6'10".
Henry, when he comes in the game, it's amazing how the pace of the game picks up. I can tell that by just the delivery. We're having to go a little quicker with what's going on. Smith, top of the circle for the Tar Heels. Carolina looking inside at a 2-3 Deacon zone. Here's Kenny Smith over on the left side, feeds Jordan. Jordan makes a catch up at the foul line, drops to Matt Doherty. Doherty tried to get in the step, gets it to Kenny Smith, whips it to Jordan. Jordan will drive the lane, puts it up, scores! Woo. Oh, did one of those Superman fly-throughs in the lane, and it's 13 points for Jordan. 56-49, Carolina has its biggest lead of the game at 7 points. That's sort of where he just gets suspended in midair, going from left to right across the lane and scores. Here's Cline from the left. Good for the freshman. Mark Cline with his 6th point, 56-51. The Carolina lead is 5 with 8.5 minutes to go. Kenny Smith will be picked up by Bogues at the timeline. Carl Tacey changing his defense now. Smith gets it to Doherty. Down the right sideline, it goes to Perkins. Kenny Smith. Carolina now has kept Kenny Green out of the Wake Forest offense here in the second half. He's gotten some baskets, but we got a whistle and we got a foul on the play. Jim Burt's coming out from underneath, and it's on Tyrone Bogues, and it will be his first, and that's going to be the 5th team foul. Bob Woodruff, our statistician, shows us that Green is 2 of 6. He's getting the shots, Henry, but they're just not going down. Kenny Smith will inbound. Alley-oop to Brad Doherty. Couldn't hold it. Perkins recovered, went right back up, lost it. Smith is there. Ball knocked loose. Jordan is there. Reverse layup is no good. Perkins, we got a jump ball. Whose ball is it? Alternating possession. It belongs to Wake Forest.
Now, wait a minute, Woody. Joe Forte has now said that he spotted a foul underneath.
Foul is on Perkins of Carolina. It's his second team foul. 56-51. Well, it was about the fourth attempt. I guess Sam was of the opinion if they're not going to call it, if they haven't called anything by now, they're not going to call anything.
Well, Tichy and Sam were both going for the ball, but Forte, who really did look to me like he had the most optimum position to make that call, made the call from way up court. And John Moreau, who was under the basket, had called jump or hell ball. But Forte rules, and you got a foul like that most of the time, it's going to go to the foul, not the hell ball.
Foul came before the jump ball. That's why it overruled. Third personal foul on Perkins. Jump shot, good, by Delaney Rudd. Rudd with 14 points, and Wake Forest has cut the Carolina 7-point lead down to just 3. That's the third personal foul on Perkins, rather than the second, as I told you a moment ago. Doherty to Jordan. Jordan feeding Smith along the left sideline. Cross court to Matt Doherty. Doherty goes low to Brad Doherty, back to Matt Doherty. Doherty comes in one dribble, then gets it to Perkins. Perkins on the baseline, bounces it back to Matt Doherty. Doherty will feed to Jordan. Jordan into the lane, stops, pops, won't, goes, yes. Brad Doherty was there to follow up. The shot hit, bounced high, and then fell back through. Jordan now with 15, 58-53 Carolina, exactly 7 minutes to play between these two old ACC rivals. Cline from well out on the left. No good. It barely got to the left side of the rim. Perkins with a rebound to Kenny Smith. Smith comes to the foul line. Matt Doherty pushes low to Jordan. Jordan up for the shot. Ball knocked loose. Will run away with it for Wake Forest. To Young down on the right. Young fires right wing. Good. Danny Young gets his 7th point. He's playing with 58-55 with 6.5 minutes to go. Kenny Smith across the timeline now. Wake Forest in the 2-3 zone. Comes over to Matt Doherty on the wing in front of the Tar Heel bench. Kenny Smith low to Perkins. Jump hook. No good. Jordan is there. Falls away. Won't go. Brad Doherty. Tichy. It'll belong to Wake Forest. Alternating possession. It is Wake Forest basketball.
Woody, interesting to hear what Terry Holland had to say in our halftime interview that with most of the games this year, if both teams are playing fairly well, which these two teams have been, that the ball games are all going to be decided in the competition.
New phrase that's been born out of the NFL.
Carolina has missed 5 of their last 7 shots after that tremendous spurt out of the gate at halftime. They're now 14 for 23, 61%. And now Wake has made 6 of their last 8 attempts from the floor, 11 for 21, 52% in the second half. And Carolina holding a narrow 3-point lead, Woody.
Wake Forest has possession of the basketball and a chance to cut it down to just 1 if successful. Carolina, the 1-3-1 zone. Cline to Kenny Green. Back out front it comes to Cline, or rather to the wing. Now to out front to Young. Young looking inside, gives it back instead to Cline on the left. Gets a quick return pass. Back it goes to Cline at the wing on the left. Carolina's 1-3-1 zone. Matt Doherty's out playing the point. Smith, Doherty, and Jordan across the middle, and Perkins is the man underneath. Delaney Rudd feeds back to Danny Young. 2 good outside shooters in Young and Rudd. Here's Rudd from 23 feet. Good. Delaney Rudd with 16 points. He had missed the William & Mary game Wednesday night with a slight sprained knee, but the Deacons are happy he's back today, even if he is wearing a brace on that left knee. 58-57. Carolina's 7-point lead, now down to 1. Doherty to Smith. Alley-oop to Perkins for the slam dunk. Dean Smith quickly getting the defense, wanting to get Wake Forest stopped before it can get the transition. Rudd pushes to Young. Shot right wing. No good. Perkins taps it and controls it. He gets it to Kenny Smith. 60-57. Just over 5 minutes to play. Carl Tacey now calling out a new defense for Wake Forest. Kenny Smith wants to go to the number 5 Carolina offense. He whips it away to Matt Doherty on the right side. Doherty will come top of the circle. Inside to Perkins. The jump hook from the lane is good. 62-57. 15 for Sam Perkins.
Reminiscent of Maryland Thursday night. Sam Perkins taking charge, Woody.
4:45 to play in the ball game. Danny Young for Mark Cline right in the midcourt area. To Tichy at the high post. Now to Rudd. Goes back now to Danny Young over to Cline at the left wing. Comes back now to Danny Young to Rudd. Rudd looking inside. Carolina back in the 1-3-1 zone. At times will look like 2-3 depending on the movement of the ball. Here's Rudd trying to drive on Jordan. Goes down the right. Pushes up off the glass. No good. Perkins got another rebound. Boy, is he something. Rudd swipes to the ball. Sam said something to him. Gets the ball up court. Doherty pushes to Jordan. Layup. No good. Lost. Ball loose. They battle for it. Away to Green. How could there not be anything called, but there wasn't. Away to Cline. Coming down at the left baseline. Back cross court it comes to Rudd. Here's Rudd on the drive in the lane from 10 feet. No good. Perkins with yet another rebound. Tichy reaching in on him. I think if Sam wanted to say something that time, he should have turned and said something to Jim Burke. 3:50 left to play in the ball game. 62-57. Dean Smith says, well, if you aren't going to call anything, we're going to put this sucker away. So the four corners has been called. Matt Doherty got to get rid of it. Bounces to Jordan, and 5-second call against Danny Young. One of the few times the Tar Heels will get caught in a 5-second count, but good defense that time by Danny Young to tie up Matt Doherty and not let him get a return pass.
I think it points out Wake Forest excellent defensive play too, Woody, and they continue to do it down the stretch now, the 5-point lead.
Carolina 32 to play. There's a timeout on the floor with the score. Carolina 62.
919-962-2296 for tickets to the North-South doubleheader on the 3rd and 4th of February, or that Clemson-Carolina ACC matchup here at the Coliseum in Greensboro on the 1st of February. For the game, Carolina is shooting 55% now, Woody. The Tar Heels are 29 of 53 shots. Wake Forest has shot 57, made 26. From the line, the Heels 80%, 4 for 5. Wake Forest 5 for 7 from the line, 71%.
Deacons have the ball out of bounds in the backcourt and a chance to get back within 3. 62-57 Carolina, 3.5 minutes to play. Danny Young works against Kenny Smith. Young across the timeline against Smith. Carolina now back to a man-to-man defense. Young coming over on the right. Gets it to Rudd, who works against Jordan. Puts it now back to Kenny Green. Green trying to drive, can't go. Rudd bounces low to Tichy. Tichy turns baseline, forces it up. Won't go. Doherty had the rebound, lost it. There's Tichy again. Up off the glass, no good. The foul's on Brad Doherty. I believe it'll be his 4th. Brad Doherty commits his 4th personal foul. That will be the 4th team foul of the second half, but Tichy will go to the line to shoot a pair. Tichy got around the baseline on Brad. Put one shot up that it didn't go, and it was actually sort of Perkins and Brad Doherty who knocked each other off of it with Kenny Green in there. And Tichy recovered and was managed to come back. That's when he got fouled. He misses his first free throw. He'll have another one coming.
Carolina has out-rebounded the Deacons 15-7 in the second half, and credit a lot of that to Sam Perkins, who's just become a terror on the Deacons board.
He's had 3 off that defensive board, I think, in a row, in addition to scoring 4 straight points. Tichy's next free throw is no good. The 5th leading free throw shooter in the league has missed 2 in a row. He's only 3 of 6 on the day. 62-57, under 3 minutes to go. Kenny Smith drives to the middle, hits Perkins as Carolina goes back to 4 corners, and now Smith becomes the chaser. The freshman from Queens, New York. Archbishop Malloy High School pushes it to Doherty. Doherty gives it right back to Smith. Wake Forest has traditionally played, Henry, the 4 corners better, I guess, than any other team defensively in the ACC. Here's Jordan on the left sideline in front of the Tar Heel bench. Puts it to Matt Doherty. Driving layup. He missed it. Tried to lay it up with the right hand, and it wouldn't go on the left side. 62-57. 2:20 to play. It was wide open down the lane, going to his left. Doherty tried to use the right hand, and it wouldn't go down. Rudd gives it now to Tichy, top of the circle. Here's Tichy on the drive. Brad Doherty trying to cut him off. Lays it up. Perkins blocks it, and they call it goaltend. Jim Birch across the floor calls a goaltend on Perkins. Tichy will get the bucket.
Well, it looked like if that one was goaltending, it must have been on the way down when it left Tichy's hand, Woody, because as soon as it was released, Perkins slapped it away.
Kenny Smith across the timeline now against Delaney Rudd. 62-59 the score. Carolina in the 4 corners. Here's Kenny Smith on the drive. Feeds Brad Doherty, trying for the layup. It won't go, and Tichy draws the foul. Tichy picks up his first. It'll be the 6th-team foul, but Brad Doherty, a 72% free throw shooter, will go to the free throw line to shoot. Well, a missed layup by the Tar Heels' Matt Doherty, and then, of course, the goaltending call against Perkins. A couple of big plays here of late. Brad Doherty, 6 points, 5 rebounds in this game. 4 of his 6 points have come here in the second half. Waving arms in the south end zone. Free throw is up, and it's no good. Carolina coming into the game was the #1 free throw shooting team in the league at 78%. Team record was 75.8, set back in 1965, but Brad makes the next one, and it's 63-59 with 1:49 to play. Danny Young across the timeline. Well out in the midcourt area. Carolina in its 1-3-1 zone. Long pass to Toms in the right corner. Trying to come out of that corner, gives it to Rudd. Now to Young. They push it to Kenny Green. Green covered by Perkins, wants to go baseline, does to Tichy. Tichy fighting through the double team, up with a shot, no good. Tap followed by Toms is good. 63-61 with a minute and a half to play, and Wake Forest stops the clock with a timeout. So there's timeout on the floor. 1:28 to go with the score. Carolina 63, Wake Forest 61.
Corners down court, and then the missed free throw by Brad Darty, which made the deficit for the Deacons on even numbers. And then the basket by Tichy pulls it back to a 2-point lead. And Carolina finds itself in a situation here where they need a basket badly with a minute 28 seconds, or possibly, we'll wait and see, they may decide just to sit on it for a couple of seconds. Carolina 16 for 27, has hit only 3 of their last 9, 59%. Wake Forest shooting exactly 50% in the ball game.
Henry, Carolina would be in the bonus if Wake Forest commits a common foul. The Deacons are not yet in the bonus. Carolina has committed only 14 fouls. That could be a factor in the final minute. Kenny Smith against Delaney Rudd. Into the lane, driving, takes it all, lays it up. Oh, my goodness. Kenny Smith, the freshman, took it all the way home and laid it up. 65-61. I kept waiting. When's the pass coming? When's the pass coming? Maybe that's what the Deacon defense thought. Tichy loses the ball. Jump ball, Carolina's possession. Delaney Rudd moved around and grabbed Jordan as they came off of it, and Jordan just brushed him off. Rudd took a couple of steps back toward Jordan, and then Brad Daugherty stepped in as if to say, to get to him, you've got to go through me.
I think Michael felt like that Delaney Rudd might have held on just a second too long there, but Carolina's going to call a timeout, Woody.
Yes, and Tyrone Bogues is coming back to the lineup for Wake Forest. 59 seconds to play, timeout on the floor. The score, Carolina 65, Wake Forest 61.
Here's in this stretch of second half, Woody, it's been one of the better ball games I think we've seen defensively all year long.
Tar Heels are having a little huddle, as they usually do before they go back to the floor. John Moreau was standing down there. The Carolina players sort of, Mr. Moreau, come on in here. We want to talk to you about something. So they got him into the huddle. Whatever they were saying, John Moreau was grinning, laughing a little bit about. They had a good little conversation, then they broke up. We've got 59 seconds to go. Carolina will have the ball out of bounds after the tie-up on that last jump ball. Brad Daugherty gets it into Kenny Smith. Smith double team to Matt Daugherty. 3-on-1 break. Matt Daugherty will not try to go through. Instead comes back to Kenny Smith. 50 seconds remain. Matt Daugherty works against Rudd. Rudd sticks a hand in to draw the foul. Rudd picks up his second. That'll be the 7th team foul. I told you a moment ago, Carolina now into the bonus. And to the line goes the young man who brought Carolina to victory a year ago in this Greensboro Coliseum meeting between these two teams when a Brad Daugherty block in the final few minutes on a Wake Forest shot that was taken a little quick allowed him to drive the length of the floor. He was fouled, and he went to the line and made both of them for the victory. Bogues and Toms have come out as Cline and Young have come back in.
So I think they want to get Cline back in the ballgame, Woody. Needs some offensive punch.
Daugherty's first. He misses. Sam Perkins taps it to keep it alive. What a player. 65-61. Whistle, foul, Mark Cline. Michael Jordan will go to the line as Cline picks up his second. Jordan has gone 3 out of 4 at the line today, including 2 here in the second half. 8th leading scorer in the ACC. He's the 3rd best free throw shooter in the league, Henry.
When Matt Daugherty missed that free throw, Sam Perkins was blocked out by Anthony Tichy. He was able just to reach over and tap it and keep it alive, but
Jordan misses the free throw, Henry.
Not this time, Woody. Tichy gets the rebound.
Wake Forest can get within 2. Rudd out of the right corner. Bounces high, no good. Brad Daugherty tapping it, trying to keep it alive. Cline saves it in the left corner. Bounces it low to Tichy. Dribbled it off his foot out of bounds. It's Carolina's ball. Tichy tried to put it to the floor against Perkins. Dribbled it away out of bounds. And Carl Tacey wants timeout. He'll get it. 25 seconds remain. Timeout on the floor with the score. Carolina 65, Wake Forest 61. Of course, in ACC play today, Henry, Duke, and Maryland will follow from Durham a bit later this afternoon, and then Clemson sharing the lead in the league right now with Carolina at 2-0, while Duke's just behind at 1-0. Will play non-conference Baptist at home tonight. But we've got 25 seconds left here in Greensboro. Carolina's got a 4-point lead, 65-61, and will have the ball out of bounds at the defensive end of the floor.
Once again, the big key down the stretch has been the play of Sam Perkins, as it was in Maryland when Sam Perkins and Michael Jordan put on a show in the last 4 or 5 minutes of that ball game. But Sam has been all over the court. He really started way back, Woody, about somewhere in the 5-minute area with a couple of quick baskets that really got Carolina back on track. And since that time, he's been a holy terror on both ends of the floor, on the rebounding, on the boards. And Sam Perkins would get my vote for the MVP of this ball game.
Brad Daugherty will inbound from baseline. Got 5 seconds to get it in. Gets it into Perkins. Right back it comes to Brad Daugherty. Brad Daugherty gets it away to Kenny Smith. Now it's to Matt Daugherty in the middle. And Kenny Green will reach around and foul him. So Matt Daugherty will get a chance to go back to the line as Kenny Green picks up his 3rd personal foul, all here in the second half. Immediately after the game, we'll be going down to the Tar Heel dressing room to get the comments of head coach Dean Smith and also talk to a Tar Heel player or two about this game. And we'll also try to get over to the Deacon dressing room and hear the comments of head coach Carl Tacey. 65-61. Matt Daugherty, who missed one a moment ago, is back there again. This free throw is good. Well, you figure maybe once in a while the guys who are competitors like Daugherty and Jordan will miss, but you keep sending them back up there. Daugherty ready on the next one. He misses this one. Jordan tapped it, but Kenny Green comes down with it. They won't continue to keep missing. Danny Young fires off balance, off the rim, no good. We're at 11. Perkins had the rebound, and the foul's on Delaney Rudd. Either Rudd or Tichy. Jim Burt's coming out to make the call, and it's going to be on Anthony Tichy. It'll be his 3rd. 10 seconds remaining to be played. Tar Heels huddle defensively at the foul line. 8:35 Wednesday night will be our airtime. Carolina against Virginia. The Cavaliers don't play again until then. You heard from Terry Holland at halftime. They'll come in 11-1 to Chapel Hill.
Well, it's going to be tough down the stretch, Woody. This game's a very good indication of that. Wake Forest with 11-1 record coming in here. Very capable of beating the Tar Heels, and Carolina has dodged the bullet again this afternoon. Sam Perkins dropped through his first free throw. But this just indicates, I think, of what's ahead for Carolina. It's going to be a dogfight right down to the end of the season to March right back here to Greensboro. And they'll have a tough time again Wednesday night against Virginia, too.
Sam Perkins ready on the next one. This one's good. It's now 68-61. Quick reminder, UNC assistant Roy Williams will be with me on many of these same stations on ACC Hotline on Tuesday night. And a 2-shot foul has just been called on Matt Daugherty. Ball went to Mark Cline deep in the corner. Only problem is, well, they're going to call an intentional foul. Wake Forest is not in the bonus, but they're going to give an intentional foul. If so, wait a minute, that might be a technical. But they're just calling it an intentional foul, not a flagrant foul. So to the line will go Mark Cline. Tyrone Bogues wants to get back in the game with 7 seconds left. 5th team foul against Carolina. Matt Daugherty 2nd. Roy Williams, the UNC assistant, 7:05 on many of these same stations on Tuesday night on the ACC Hotline. Our number is 919-942-8765 on Tuesday night. I hope you'll call and talk Carolina or ACC basketball with us. Mark Cline rimmed his first free throw out. 2-time West Virginia Player of the Year. We'll have another one coming. 68-61. This one is good. 68-62. Carolina quickly inbounds the ball. Daugherty to Matt Daugherty, and he gets fouled by Tyrone Bogues. The little guy out of Baltimore picks up his 2nd personal foul. 4 seconds remain, so the Heels will remain unbeaten at 12-0, go to 3-0 in the ACC, while Wake Forest drops to 0-2 in the ACC, 11-2 overall. Henry, this is among the better starts for a Carolina team. And you go back to years like 82 and 57 to find other years that Carolina teams have gotten off to this kind of start.
This will actually be a better start than 82, Woody. This will make them 12 in a row. That year, Carolina won 11 games without losing one. They lost their 12 games, so this one will better the record of the NCAA champs of 82.
Good point. 69-62. Matt Daugherty ready on the next one. And it's good. 70-62. Carolina will win its 11th straight game in the Greensboro Coliseum. Its 4th straight. Here's Bogues on the drive, takes a 13-footer, rims out no good. There will go the horn. The ball game is over, and the Tar Heels wiped out a 7-point first-half deficit, came back to wind up winning by 8.
12-0, 70-62. Our MVP is Sam Perkins. Sam, in the second half, you really came on. You had, in the second half, 13 points and 11 rebounds.
Well, first half, they really shut us down, our inside game. Brad and I were kind of foul difficulty. So second half, our coach gave us a little pep talk, and we came out and played like we should be playing.
Sam, Billy made a good point. Why didn't you start defensively against Kenny Green? Why the switch?
Well, there's no strategy involved. I think Coach Smith...
You're making me look bad, Sam.
Coach Smith wanted Brad Dory to guard him at first, but he realized that Brad had 2 fouls real quick. So then all of a sudden, I've been guarding him. I came along and guarded him. I got 2 quick fouls. So it wasn't anything pre-planned or anything. He just wanted it that way.
Sam, one of the things I want to ask, and hold this hand up for the fans. You're using your right hand quite a bit on the shot, particularly that little half hook where you don't have the opportunity to use 2 hands on the ball. It would seem to me this give you a lot of trouble right here, particularly in the palm area where you can't get a hold of the ball.
Well, I had some problems with it in past games, but I let my trainer cut it down enough so where I can handle the ball just enough so I can get a good grip. And first of all, it was too
Sam,
high.
we watch this play right here, Sam. Now, you've always wanted to be an announcer. Tell us what's happening. You always say you can be better than anybody. Announcer, tell me.
Well, I just want to be ambidextrous. That's all. That's the thing to it. I want to use 2 hands. Everybody says I'm left-handed, but I have a right hand, too.
Everybody's criticized you for not saying certain things about sports. I said today, Sam Perkins is a great athlete, but he's not a sports fan. Is that a true statement?
Well, I'm a sports fan, but there's other things I got to take care of, and I can't really sit around, watch who's winning and who's losing and everything. I got to take care of Carolina, my business at school, and especially my personal things.
Personal things we won't get into at all, but I know Coach Smith, you got to like his game today and the way he's been playing this year.
Sam's been great for 4 years. I think, unfortunately, he didn't make All-American in his sophomore and junior year, and I think he's having his best year. Senior should, and he certainly has. We're very happy with the win, and I know Sam is, and I thought he played a great second half, as did the team.
Dean, you've really had a tough week. You had to go to College Park and come here today. There's not a lot of teams that can pull that double off.
Well, I was concerned about this one. Timing, I don't know how Sam felt, but I was worried about us being ready. We should be anytime, but since we did it Thursday night, we got a chartered flight back in order to go to class on Friday morning. They got in at 3 o'clock, right, and then played today. But you have to give Wake Forest credit. I think they're an excellent basketball team. And our biggest problem will be getting ready for Virginia at home because, Sam, remember last year Virginia was on the road, and we got up there.
He's already trying to psych us, all right? Sam, he's already working on us mentally.
Bill, you know what happened last year? They finally got home, and Sam went up and got 36 against Simpson, and we had a great win in Virginia.
Dean, let me ask you one more question in closing. 82, the title team. You said potentially this could be as good. How do you feel now?
I think potentially we've played we're an excellent basketball team. There's a lot of good basketball teams throughout America. You know, like Wake Forest, I understood, beat Auburn, but I think everyone's going to be beaten maybe 3 or 4 times. I saw a lot of good athletes out there today on our side and their side. I thought Kenny Green was fantastic, and he has been all year for them. But we're playing very well, and we have a good team, good 7, 8, 9 men.
Dean, Sam, thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you, Gary.
Great ball game.
So North Carolina remains unbeaten. And Billy, as he said, they've got Virginia coming up, and the ACC may be the best it's ever been.
I really think from top to bottom, Gary, this is the finest year that the ACC conference has ever had.